Okay, so we're going to run over some of the latest Dojo QOL, and I'm clearly a very organized YouTuber and got all of my own patch notes. Definitely didn't steal Sabertooth's from the Kawaii Discord. So I'm going to start with what I think is the most poignant update, and that is individual permissions set per room. So traditionally you'd have to give someone that you trusted in your dojo access to the decoration privileges in the clan hierarchy. The downside of that is potentially somebody you don't quite know well enough running through your dojo and deleting everything. I've had this happen in the community and it never feels good. Now that fear has probably blocked a lot of warlords giving out dojo decoration permissions from potentially new decorators. Now DE, in an attempt to fix that, has allowed individual permissions set per room. So we go over to the console and we see allow unrestricted decorating. It's going to bring up a list of clanmates. Even if these clanmates do not have decoration privileges within the hierarchy, you can give them a privilege for one room. So here I'm going to flip this Dizzy 12 account. The Dizzy 12 is my filming account. And it's new into this clan. It doesn't have any decoration privileges. So we confirm that. And switch over to the POV of my Dizzy 12 account. And you can see in this room, I can now decorate, remove, delete, edit. No problem. My biggest fear of this is you can see other rooms through open doors. So is there potential for people to still delete things that you haven't given the permission to touch? And from my testing, I found that these restrictions are pretty watertight. So even through a door, you'll see I get a message that I don't have permission to edit this room. And even if I clip out of bounds and drop into a new room, and I try to delete something there, I get the same message. This account can only make changes to decorations that originate in that room. Now my hope is some of you warlords out there who have been kind of protective of your dojo, hopefully you start opening your doors a little bit more, start letting people have access to one or two rooms to get their foot in the door, as it were, and we can all try to work together to promote more and more dojo decorators. Just for even more security, there is another tool that's been added, and that is to lock a room. Now only warlords can lock rooms, and obviously they can only unlock them, but any room that is locked is barred from any changes. So even if someone in your dojo has decoration permissions, if they are not a warlord, they still can't change it. It's also worth saying that even though I'm the person who locked this room, and I have every permission in the dojo, I can't make changes here. That includes funding. We've covered both the allow unrestricted decorating menu and the lock room editing menu. There's also a new button on this screen, the fund all pending decorations one. This is a one-click button to fund every decoration in a room. So if you're like me and place decorations and forget to fund them from the vault, you turn around, all your build's yellow, and you have to manually do it one by one. Now, thankfully, we don't need to do that anymore. Simply click this button, and all your decorations will turn blue. Now, this is kind of a cool tool for those of you who track your resources spent, because it's going to show you a list of all resources that will be consumed. This menu also lets you find which resources you are missing currently to fund the whole room, as well as having a contribute option which lets you partially fund the room even if you are missing some. Now, there's one worry with auto funding, and it pertains to shadow art. Obviously, the tributors that you use are very picky about which order they are placed, because the hierarchy works from the first placed to the last placed. Also, if you fund them instead, it works from the first funded to the last funded. Now, I don't know if this auto fund, where it funds all the tributors at once, is going to mess with the ordering that you place them. I've got a little test set up. Now, I can't rush them with Dojo Platinum because you can't do that from the console, so by me manually doing it one by one, I'll be setting the order again, and it won't be a true test of this auto fund. But for now, to play it safe, I would probably work around auto fund with shadow art rooms. You could either manually fund the whole room and not have to deal with it at all. Secondly, you could make sure you're funding from the vault so that you're funding your tributors as you're placing them. That way their hierarchy is locked. And when they're finished funding, you can then still edit them, change scaling, change colors, that kind of thing if you're not happy with it later. So this update has brought two buffs to shadow art and tributors specifically. First is the character limit. Originally we had a character limit of 30, and that would let you make 4 Omega squares. The character limit now is 60, meaning you can make 8 squares from a single tributor. Obviously they still have the gaps in between because of the gap in the input. So if you want a solid color, you still need to use 2 tributors, but you still get a lot more coverage. The second buff really increases coverage. Originally the scaling was set at 2 at max. You can now put that all the way up to 16, which means each new Omega square, as in the big one, is 64 times bigger than the original one. It should mean you need far less tributors to make your shadow art, way less resources to build them, and way less time manually inputting every separate input for every individual tributor. But more importantly than that, it saves on the game's resources. It should make your dojo far easier to load into on lower end consoles and mobile phones. Speaking of lag, there is a new limit on tributors, and you get 1000 tributors for your entire dojo. This is a grandfather system. You're not going to have your tributors wiped out if you're over 1000, but you can't add any tributors until you're below that 1000 limit. Now the next buff is a change to how preview works. Traditionally you have to do a preview from the room console, and it would break if you place any decorations, and even if you didn't break it, it would only have a very short timer anyway. Now thankfully when you enter decoration mode and you face away from any decorations, you'll see a little key at the bottom of your screen that switches to preview. When you activate that preview, it is now on permanently until you leave the dojo or you turn it off. This means you can build with your polychrome and all the textures of your decorations active without having to leave and run away every 10 minutes to do a preview to see how it's all looking. I'm hoping this helps new decorators get in the dojo who aren't quite familiar with all the textures, so they might struggle to see how the whole build is coming together without this function. Now the last thing of note that caught my eye are going to be the NPCs. Now to get them, you need to go to your bash lab and go and research them from the console. You can find your NPCs under the new submenu visitors. You place them like a regular decoration, except these decorations have no build time. They will spawn in instantly. But please take note of their capacity cost. It costs 25 capacity each. That should tell you that they're quite lag intensive, and they do have limits put on them. Now the limits are fairly easy to follow. You have 8 individual poses, and you're allowed 4 each in a single room. That's going to give you a total of 32 NPCs per room. One thing to be aware of is if we times that 32 by the 25 capacity cost, that's going to equal 800 capacity just on those NPCs. But just the NPCs alone will take up half the decoration cap available in the modern dojo rooms like the open space. NPCs are scalable. Pretty much put them anywhere you would put a normal decoration. And they do take color from a polychrome, so they will blend in with the feel and vibe of the room you're in. And that's about it for the scope of this video. Now, obviously if you follow this channel, you know I've had a pretty big absence. I got a new job last year. I got a little burnt out with trying to run community stuff. I do have a couple of builds on the way. I've not totally given up or totally retired, but I'm not going to be making videos at the pace YouTube wants me to. So make sure you like and subscribe if you want more dojo stuff. Peace out. I'll catch you in the next one.